Effigies burned, cries of protest, thousands in yellow jackets on a strike for a week. The Delhi National Capital Region turned into a theatre of conflict between Blinkit and its delivery partners over a new rate card. The Zomato-owned company cut payout to 15 rupees per delivery from 25 rupees earlier. The revised pay structure has a distance-based variable component, which the company says, and I quote, is fair. The riders believe it's not. They fear it will cut their monthly earnings in half. The standoff temporarily shut half of Blinkit's 200 dark stores in the region. So be it, said the quick commerce company, unrelenting in its stance. For a week, the Blinkit strike smoldered under the hot summer sun, but has since cooled, with the majority of delivery partners returning to work. All's well, declared Zomato in a stock exchange filing, wiping the disruption aside, saying it caused no material impact on the company's financial performance, a hit of less than 1% in revenue. However, a lot of experts we spoke to believe that the genesis of the problem lies in the business model of quick commerce itself, which promises consumers instant gratification while delaying profitability, as most players in the sector continue to burn cash and report losses. Which brings us to the question that we're asking today. What is the economic and reality of running a hyper-local delivery business? What are the biggest cost centers? What will it take to create a business model that's a win-win for all stakeholders, turning this potentially $5 billion market from whimsical into sustainable? Hello and welcome to Young Turks, India's longest-running show on startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Shereen Bhan. Well, joining me now are our guests for the show, Adit Palicha, the co-founder and CEO of Zepto, a quick grocery delivery app. We're also joined by Abhishek Bansal, the co-founder and CEO of logistics company Shadowfax, Sheikh Salahuddin, the National General Secretary of the Indian Federation of App-Based Transport Workers, and Shantanu Deshpande, the CEO of Bombay Shaving Company, with us on the program. Gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us here on the show. Sheikh ji, आपसे शुरुआत करना चाहूंगी. एक हफ्ते की स्ट्राइक थी, अब स्ट्राइक खत्म हो चुकी है. कई डिलीवरी पार्टनर्स का ये मानना है कि जो अब नया रेट कार्ड है वो अनफेयर है, वो उनके खिलाफ है. आप बताइए, सबसे ज्यादा आपको किस बात की परेशानी है?
देखिए, पहली बात मैं आपको बोलना चाह रहा हूँ कि स्ट्राइक खत्म पूरे से नहीं हुई, स्ट्राइक अभी बरकरार है. ठीक है, तो और आपको ये भी क्लियर करना चाह रहा हूँ, जैसा ये रेट कार्ड का मामला चल रहा, 2022 के अंदर 50 रुपए था, उसको बाद में हल्का 25 रुपए किया गया, उसके बाद में आज 15 से 10 रुपए के बीच में दिया जा रहा. ये इसके वजह से डेली लाइफ पे जो डिलीवरी बॉय है, जो डिलीवरी वर्कर है, जो सुबह से लेकर शाम तक 12-12 घंटे जो काम करते हैं, उनके ऊपर बहुत ही उनकी फैमिली के ऊपर इफेक्टेबल है. इसको समझना चाहिए. हम अभी मल्टीपल टाइम्स वही आपके द्वारा एज ए मीडिया द्वारा भी हम लोग बोल रहे, ब्लिंकिट मैनेजमेंट से भी हम रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे, मगर आज के हालात जो है वो बहुत बुरे हैं. आप देख रहे होंगे डिलीवरी वर्कर्स को हर चीज बढ़े जा रही है. डीजल का रेट, पेट्रोल का रेट और बेसिक नीडली जो भी घर के जरूरतमंद चीज है वो सारे बढ़ते जा रहे, मगर यहाँ पे डिलीवरी बॉय की अर्निंग कम हो रही और उसका लाइवलीहुड पे इफेक्ट गिर रहा, वो बहुत बुरा.
तो शेख जी, आप कह रहे हैं कि अर्निंग्स पे काफी भारी प्रभाव पड़ा है और आप कह रहे हैं कि स्ट्राइक खत्म नहीं हुई है, लेकिन कंपनी के हिसाब से तो स्ट्राइक खत्म हो चुकी है और वापस आ गए हैं सब काम पे.
नहीं मैडम, वो थर्ड पार्टी उनको ज्यादा हायर करके कंपनीज ने उनको हायर करके रखा, काम चला रहे. तो मैं उस चीज में ज्यादा नहीं जाना चाह रहा हूँ. आज के तारीख में भी आज अगर देखे होंगे, सुबह गुड़गांव के अंदर, दिल्ली एनसीआर के अंदर अभी भी हमारे साथी बहुत सारे लोग आज ज्वाइन नहीं हुए वर्क के अंदर. मगर कल का जो बिहेवियर था कंपनीज का, जो बिग बास्केट कंपनी का जो बाउंसर्स, 100 के ऊपर बाउंसर्स लगाए हर जगह, हर उनके हब्स के ऊपर जो पुलिस का पहरा लगा के जो करे और उनको आईडीज ब्लॉक करते बोल के जो धमकी दिए, उसके वजह से थोड़े लोग जो है वो खौफ में आके उनकी रोजी रोटी के, क्योंकि वो बेरोजगार है मैडम, उसको रोजगार इसके सिवा दूसरा नहीं है चारा, क्योंकि ये चारा बना दिए, तो उसके लिए पाप बेचारा थोड़े मजबूरन लोग जाके जुड़ गए.
Now, many have questioned the unit economics of the quick commerce model. You believe it works. You believe it's doable. Respond to what we've heard here from Sheikh, what we have heard from others saying that, look, a business model needs to be sustainable and quick commerce in India is not.
Thanks, Adan, Shereen, and I appreciate you having me here and the opportunity to speak on this platform. So look, I don't believe quick commerce's unit economics work. I know quick commerce's unit economics work. I mean, at this point, it's a function of the data. I mean, to give you a sense of where we stand right now, we're in a position where, we've got hundreds of dark stores across the country at this point, and about 65% of them are fully cash flow positive, including everything from rent, utilities, manpower expenses, delivery cost, wastage, your back-end sourcing cost, your customer support agent and wastage. Fully loaded, right? And not only have they turned fully cash flow positive, they're turning profitable faster than supermarkets turn profitable. We're seeing a Zepto dark store take 13 to 14 months to turn fully loaded cash flow positive versus a offline supermarket, which is a well-established business model, takes 18 to 24 months. So this model is new, right? We don't have a 5-year ROIC yet, but forget about proving the business model. We're turning our stores profitable faster than supermarkets. We believe we'll probably have a longer and better, a faster path to payback and a better ROIC in the long run.
What's working? How are you being able to deliver on unit economics?
Look, it's a phenomenal question. And, by the way, I'd be happy to catch up with you for coffee one day and show you our P&L. But in terms of the, what actually works with this business, see, this business is, fundamentally a function of operating discipline, right? It's like asking what's the difference between a, D-Mart, which is a highly profitable grocery retail company, and every other grocery retailer other than D-Mart, which is nowhere near the profitability. And a lot of people follow the same model of, budget retail, budget grocery, but they still don't have anywhere near the profitability metrics that D-Mart has. And it fundamentally boils down to execution. So to answer your question, there are no silver bullets, right? It's everything from a better sales mix towards fresher products that lead to higher margins, to a higher utilization per square foot that takes our rent as a percentage of sales to 90 basis points, all the way to the amount of, the productivity metrics of our delivery partners, the supply planning and the efficiency we have, and even, metrics like how efficient we are with our packaging, how productive are our customer support agents. It's basis point by basis point execution. Yeah. So at its core, it's like asking what's the difference between D-Mart and everybody else in budget grocery. It's just execution.
And if I may ask, Adit, what is the kind of margin that you enjoy today?
We're operating today at a, post-discount gross margin of 20 to 25%, largely on the back of, just a higher penetration of, fresh fruits and vegetables and fresh products that are naturally higher margin than your FMCG products. And there's a lot that we've done to drive that. But yeah, if that answers your question.
But Abhishek, I want to come to you now and understand from your point of view what you believe are the opportunities, but more importantly, what you believe are the levers, because I think once again this model is coming under scrutiny and in question on account of what we're seeing happen with the delivery partners and the standoff currently at Blinkit, but it's not a new phenomena. And the question then is that, do you have enough levers that you can leverage to be able to ensure sustainability and viability in the long term?
I think it is purely a matter of operating discipline. If you talk about retail in this country is a very, very tough business. And as you can see, like there'll be like probably 90% of the retailers who have basically started a business properly, but they haven't done well. If you look at the business, I think it is phenomenal. Like it is extremely dependent on the kind of products that you're selling. Where are you selling? What kind of choices are you making? If you probably go all out over there across all geographies, probably this business does not make sense. But if you're being very, very selective in terms of choosing where your customers are, choosing the right kind of customers and building a brand for those sort of customers. But I think when it comes to logistics, logistics is a very, again, there are certain elements around efficiency, productivity, which matter a lot to the unit economics. But also what matters is a lot of softer element. Okay, how are you locating your dark stores? Are you serving customers which are far away from your dark stores? Okay, are you keeping your people happy over there? How is your demand distribution throughout the day? How's your forecasting engines working so that the people who are working with you have a very reliable way of making money? Typically, what we have seen is that, again, and there's a metric that we measure today across our network. What is the satisfaction level of delivery partners across delivery companies? And what we have seen is, again, different companies have very, very different kind of happiness cycles. And it all relates in some way to the operating discipline that they have. But that also plays a huge role in the unit economics. Because the happier the people are with working in a certain place, I think the more stable the unit economics can be in the long run.
Shantanu, that's what I want to address with you, because you've been tweeting or writing on LinkedIn about this issue as well. And I think it once again brings into focus the issue of how large really is this addressable market. I mean, all kinds of numbers are bandied about and thrown about, but the actual paying capacity, the actual paying customer, the difference, the divergence between the addressable market or what is projected and forecast as the addressable market and the paying capacity, that's where the problem seems to lie, the divergence therein.
No, I completely agree with you. I think, so first of all, as Bombay Shaving Company, Zepto, Instamart, and Blinkit are important. They account for almost 10% of our revenues, right? So we see growth happening, we see customer acquisition happening, we see them as viable, large-scale opportunities. As a consumer also, for me, I use all three. And I genuinely believe that it is a habit-creating product. Now, retail, as Aditya and Abhishek have rightly said, are execution and discipline-driven kind of industries. DMart has obviously done something phenomenally well, operates at a very different level, and so on. I genuinely believe that because of a large amount of investment, private investment in companies, there is a certain amount of habit creation in consumers around discounts and what you feel should happen. And in consumption economies, if you look at India, if you look at middle class India, okay, I don't think the market is as small as we think. India is premiumizing. The issue is we tend to extract value from people who we presume to be poorer than us. So we will extract value from the ironing guy. We will extract value from the maids. We will extract value from the sabzi wala, where we will take dhania, mirch, etc. But we'll go to PVR. The same middle class family will go to PVR and spend $600 on popcorn. So the consumer, in my view, also is the belief is that consumer cannot spend and all of that. I genuinely feel that's a highly exaggerated argument.
Fair point, Shantanu, but my point is that the consumer that is willing to pay for convenience is paying the delivery charge, is paying the handling charge today. But there are consumers who may want the convenience but don't want to pay for it at this point in time. And that transition, I don't know when that's likely to happen, and that's the question. So, and I guess that's where the forecasts and reality are diverging.
No, I agree. I think
I'll come to you in a second. Yeah, Shantanu.
I think we have put bad habits into consumers over the last 10 years. India is the only country where there is 50% cash on delivery. There is no reason with UPI as well spread out for there to be 50% cash on delivery. Of that 50%, 10% are personal care and food products that are opened, used and returned, and the consumer will tell the delivery boy, leke jao, mere ko nahi chahiye. These are not good habits. These habits are by 5 to 10% of consumers bring businesses to their knees and spoil economics across the board. They're not required. They're very penny wise, pound foolish. So I feel that transition has to happen. It might take some time. Might take some time to unlearn.
But Adit, you wanted to come back to the point that Shantanu was making and respond to Shantanu's point that, it's a lot of you guys that instilled bad behavior. Now, as you chase unit economics and the path to profitability, a lot of those bad habits are being unbound.
Shereen, I think you're trying to, get a pretty exciting dialogue, but I actually agree with a lot of what Shantanu was saying. And I'm not sure if it's, noticeable in my face, but I wasn't here for most of that process of heavy discounting. To give you a sense, Zepto's discount right now is 30 basis points. You mentioned 50% cash on delivery. It's 22% cash on delivery for us. And more importantly, to give you a sense, I think on the narrative that the forecasts on how big this opportunity can be and what's actually playing out in reality, to give you a sense, I think there's a little bit of a stigma that's been pushed on this model, right? In reality, getting the contribution margin positive, turning dark stores profitable faster than supermarkets. When you actually look at the depth of the story is very different. What's interesting to me is that there are companies out there in technology that have been unprofitable for 7, 10, 15 years. This model is 18 months old and everybody's already written it off. And I think it's just mainly sort of a stigma. I think the inherent assumption is, will people pay for convenience? That inherent assumption assumes that the delivery cost is higher with this model than in other models. Faster delivery means, more expensive cost structures and by virtue higher delivery fees. Is just that it's an assumption.